how do you know when you should choose the money saving route versus the splurging route for a purchase? Today, we're talking all about the kinds of things that may go into making this decision. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel, we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, then scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. I'm super excited about today's video as we are going to be talking about saving versus splurging. You guys know that I am a huge fan of budgeting and I love that a budget gives you the permission to spend. And if you guys have been here for a little bit, then you know that I totally like to splurge on things that are important to me. And there are a few criteria that I have to meet in order to kind of make that decision to want to splurge on an item. But I am able to splurge on a purchase because I find ways that I can save money on other aspects in my budget. So today we're going to be talking about the kinds of things that we save and splurge on and how we go about making that decision. And I say we because I'm really excited that today's video includes a special guest, and that is my dear friend Bethany Bayless. Bethany and I have been friends for a couple years. We actually met attending a financial conference called FinCon, which is a conference where anyone who's involved in finance and media gathers, whether you are a podcaster, YouTuber, blogger, all these things. And Bethany and I became friends over that. And we actually ended up having our sons at like the same exact time. Our boys are born 4 days apart. So during our pregnancies and also this new stage of motherhood, we've been talking a whole lot about entering this fun season of life while also being mindful of our finances because we're passionate about both. And we actually have started a podcast called The Motherhood and Money Show. And I'm super excited about this. I will have a link to our show in the description box down below and you can check it out there. You can also listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And together, Bethany and I talk all things motherhood and money. It's been super fun to hang out with Bethany as we are friends, and it's been fun to talk about these things that we're both very passionate about. And I hope that you guys would find that to be fun and helpful as well. So if you haven't already, you can check out the podcast, which we release a new episode every Tuesday. So without further ado, let's bring Bethany on here and we'll chat more about saving versus splurging. So I have my dear friend Bethany Bayless joining. So Bethany, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. This is the most exciting thing that's happened all week.
So today I wanted to bring Bethany on so that we could talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts, saving versus splurging, and how to know when to do either of those.
This is so exciting. This is one of my favorite subjects ever because I feel like it's something you and I have in common, and the way that we really love to teach about personal finance, which is just splurge on the things that mean things to you and save on the things that might not mean as much. And I feel like you and I both live by that, and it's so fun to splurge and to give yourself the permission to spend money because personal finance is personal and it should be helping you and not hindering you.
Exactly. So Bethany, I want to hear, what is a criteria for you to have the permission to splurge?
So one of the biggest things when it comes to splurge, it was something that Marissa put in a really beautiful way when she said it to me once, was buy nice or buy twice. And so if I buy something that's slightly better quality, but I'm going to be using it a lot and I'm going to be paying for, the quality over time, then that's one of the reasons that I choose to splurge. And I mean, I think specifically of maybe even like clothing articles, like sometimes there's something that I'll spend a lot more than maybe I normally would, but I wear that every day. Like I wear it all the time. It's always being something that's utilized and taken advantage of. And so it's worth every penny when I splurge instead of buying twice. So like a really good example of that is I bought these really nice shoes because I used to travel a lot. And so I would buy, the $12 Target shoes, and I was buying them all the time. I was buying them frequently, and then finally I splurged on a really nice pair of flats that were super comfy and could like fold up in my travel bag so that I wouldn't have to carry them. And I never bought another pair of flats again, literally.
Yeah, I totally get that as well because I've had many instances where I've spent maybe $10 on one item that I've had to rebuy multiple times, where thinking back, like I should have just spent like $20 on a better version of it so that I'd only have to buy it once. So it's definitely a way to save money. So for myself, when I'm deciding if I want to save money or splurge on something, I kind of look to follow 3 rules. And that is, first, to make sure that it's something that I actually want. And I also don't want it just because I'm trying to keep up with what someone else is doing. Like, I don't want to splurge the money just because I see someone on Instagram bought something and splurged it. Like, if it's something that I truly do want, then that is like the first criteria that I meet for being able to splurge on an item. And then the second thing for me is to make sure that I have money in the budget. I love budgeting and I'm very passionate about it. And so I always want to make sure that if I'm going to spend money, I have the money saved in my bank account, I have the money budgeted for and planned to be spent on this expense. And then the third criteria that I want to meet is that I know that this item is going to last a long time. And like Bethany said, like, I am a huge fan of being able to spend money on something that I know will last a long time. So, Bethany, what is one item or a few items that you like to splurge money on?
I love splurging money on travel. That's probably one of the biggest things that my husband and I spend money on, because I want to spend money on experiences instead of things, because I feel like, the things around our house eventually will just become clutter and we'll always have those memories. We'll always have those things that we can look back on. So we splurge a lot when it comes to travel, and we have so many amazing memories when it comes to the places that we've been and the things that we've been able to do. And something else that I personally splurge on, I don't know about you, Marissa, but I'm kind of like slightly obsessed with techie gadgets and things. And so every once in a while, I'll splurge on maybe like an Apple Watch, or a few years ago splurged on a new iPad with an Apple Pencil because I was getting really into like hand lettering and drawing, and that was kind of a creative outlet for me that eventually turned into making money. So it was something that I splurged on and just so happened to become a business that I could do. And then something else is when it comes to things for Caden, my son, there's like some things that I'll spend a little bit more on because it's, something I know will be really good quality that'll last a while, or it might just be really convenient for us. I'll choose to splurge a little bit on that. But I also love that in all of these areas, like, there are also ways to cut back on all of these things when they're not like as important. And so, for example, with the things for Caden, I have bought so many things on Facebook Marketplace that have saved me money in certain areas so that I can, put that money and splurge a little bit more towards one item. Like, one of the ones that you and I both bought, Marissa, was our Up-A-Baby stroller kits systems.
Yeah.
Where we got all the things, and it's been the best thing ever. Like, I'm so glad that we spent money there and not on the changing table, which ended up being like $15 from Facebook Marketplace. So those are a few of our favorite things to splurge.
I know a lot of our splurges are kind of similar to yours, and especially like when it comes to baby things, especially since like you and I are in this season of life. But we splurged on the Snoo. We got the Snoo bassinet, which is a smart bassinet, and it was definitely a pretty penny, but I did a whole video talking about like the cost breakdown of it and why we decided to do that. I'll leave a link to that up above. You can check it out if you want, but it's a pricey bassinet. But when it came down to it, I found value in like that small cost per night and being able to get sleep. That was important to me, and I felt like that justified the cost. We also got the Up-A-Baby Vista stroller, and I figured that was going to last me a long time. It can turn from a single to a double stroller, so I knew that I'd be using it for years, for not just my son Peter, but also for future kids that we had as well. So that was important to me. And then I would also say when we take vacations, I actually really like to splurge on like a nicer hotel. I know that some people will choose to go like a really cheap route for the hotel because they're going to want to like go out and do more activities, but I just really like myself a nice hotel, like usually like staying at the Hilton. That's something that's important to me.
I would totally agree. I know it sounds terrible. I never really enjoyed hostels. I've always been a hotel person, and there's just been some really cool places, some very cool hotels. So I'm totally in agreement with you.
Bethany, I've never stayed at a hostel, and I don't think that I ever could.
I don't think you should. I think we're like at the life stage now, like especially with a baby, and especially like, we have a small family. I feel like hostels, those were the things of my 20s, and it was
Yes.
great. Like, they were wonderful, but I like hotels.
Yes.
And every once in a while, okay, this is an example of when I'll splurge on a vacation. At those hotels, they have massage therapists that
Ooh.
I will splurge on every once in a while. So I've had massages like in several different countries around the world, and it's a great splurge.
So Bethany, let's also talk about how we decide when we should save money on something, when we decide to go the cheaper route. So what is a criteria for you in deciding to save money on a purchase?
It's kind of funny. I think I'm always looking for deals. Like, even on things that I'm going to splurge on, I want to make sure that I can look for a deal, that I can look online to see if there's like a coupon code or free shipping or something like that, or buying at a certain time. So I'll often Google, like, best time to buy a refrigerator, or best time to buy a car, or best time or whatever. And so I feel like one of my criteria is am I able to save on it? Because I feel like cutting back in all these areas. And, that's the thing about splurging too, is like, I have a number in my head of, okay, maybe I'll spend $600 for this thing. And if I can save on it and spend less than that money, then I can use that towards something else. Even if it's like $600 is still like a really big splurge for us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So I feel like a criteria that we have is if it's not as important to us, if we don't really care about the quality, if we don't really care, like, it's just something that we need, and not something that we necessarily want, that's usually when I will try to save money on it.
I completely agree, and that's kind of our criteria for deciding if we want to go like the cheaper route on something, especially if we're not going to use it for very long. And so during our journey into becoming moms, I've realized that baby clothes, babies go through clothes so quickly, and we never spent money on like high-end baby clothes or anything like that, baby shoes, like none of that, because they grow out of it so quickly. And so I was totally fine accepting hand-me-downs from friends who gave baby clothes, because I knew that he just wasn't going to wear it for very long, or, he spits up on it, or, gets dirty. So that was something that we decided to go a cheap route on, and I'm really grateful that we did. And we also were able to get a couple pieces of furniture like for his room that ended up being from Facebook Marketplace, which is a great way to find a deal on something if it's not like that important to you.
Facebook Marketplace, man, for baby things, I'm telling you, like, you're gonna find some really great things on there, and it's probably one of my favorite things. I just found out today, Marissa, that you can get formula on Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
That, like, some moms are just, yes! I was like, are you serious? I mean, and that's something that, like, I have to buy formula, and so if I can save on that in any way that I can, like, that would be great. I'm not splurging on bougie formula.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want him to have the basics, but when, you were saying it comes to clothes, I completely agree, and we live in a pandemic right now, so we haven't even gone out very much. Like, all of his nice clothes that he was going to wear to church or like to weddings, he wore them maybe once, and it was because I put him in it just to take a picture.
Yes.
And so I have a rule when it comes to baby clothes. It cannot cost more than something I would buy for myself, because I feel like there's a lot of baby clothes that I was like, I wouldn't even pay this for my own stuff.
Yes, that is such a good rule of thumb. I completely agree with that. And I love that you can get like the cheap packs of clothes like at Target or something, and get like 4 shirts
Oh my goodness.
for the price of
Yes.
one shirt that you would spend for yourself. Another way that I actually like to save money is on these things that we talked about splurging on. And again, I know that you mentioned this, Bethany, but while we have found joy in splurging money on the things that are important to us, I still love to be able to find a good deal. And so I feel like I need to share that I did actually get like the Snoo bassinet at a really good deal, and also I got the Up & Baby Vista at an awesome sale. And I don't know about you, Bethany, but I just get this like rush, I just get this like high of being able to save money on something that I really want.
I totally agree. And like, we also got a sale on the Up & Baby, and because I think we both got it around the same time. They were bringing in the new model, so they were trying to get rid of the old one, and so they were all on sale anyway, and we ended up getting the floor model of it because it was literally the last one in the store. And so they gave it to us, and it actually still had the piggyback step that you can put on it. It had it still attached because it was the floor model, and so they wanted to show people what that looked like, and they didn't know how to take it off, and so they're like, just take it. Or like, oh, really? Are you sure? They're like, yeah, it's fine. Just take it. Because they just didn't want to take it off. I looked it up later, and that step was $119.
Oh my gosh. And so you got it for free.
And I want to tell the whole world. I just want to tell everyone. Yeah, it's an expensive stroller, but I got it way cheaper, and I got $119 step for free that Kaden is for sure going to be using. So I completely understand. And I think that's the thing too, is even a splurge, it's so awesome to save even in those things. And it's still, I felt like I was still splurging, but I was able to kind of meet it in the middle where I was okay with it.
Totally. Yes. And just because you want to splurge on something doesn't mean that you don't need to look and see if you can find ways to save on it.
Definitely. We always make sure, so something that Travis and I do too is we both have an allowance or fun money, and it's each of our we do the envelope system. Marissa Marissa does not believe in the envelope system.
I don't like the cash envelopes, but
the cash envelopes, but it works super well for us. And we each have our own allowance, little envelope that we can do, and we're not allowed to say what either one can do with it. We're not allowed to judge whatever they choose to buy it on. And so certain things like that, I'll save up my fun money and get something like my Apple Watch or get something like that, because it's me allowing myself to spend that money. It's already pre-approved on by my spouse and my partner, and so it's something that is yay, I get to spend that money.
Yes.
Because it's in our budget.
Yes, I love that. We do that as well for personal spending money without cash envelopes, but just as a line item in our budget for personal spending. And I love having that because, again, totally, with having it in the budget, it gives you the permission to spend on those wants, and that is super important for us to include in our budget every month. Well, Bethany, thank you so much for joining on my YouTube channel, making your official debut. It was so fun to have you here.
Thanks, Marissa. I appreciate you letting me on.
So a huge thanks to Bethany for joining us today, and thank you for watching. If you haven't checked out the Motherhood and Money Show podcast, I will have a link to it in the description box down below. You can check it out, and we release a new episode every Tuesday. You can listen wherever you listen to podcasts, and I hope that you will find it to be fun, relatable, entertaining, educational, just all the things. So come hang out with us, and I hope that we can be your new podcast besties. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what is one thing that you splurge money on, and also what's one thing that you choose to save money on. And with that, I will look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye.
Did you ever stop and think, why spend too much